Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. A handful of states, even more counties, have filed suit against the pharmaceutical industry for its role in the opioid crisis. So why hasn't New Jersey or any of the counties? In a moment, we'll go inside here to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office. Ocean County is one of the hardest hit counties in the country when it comes to opioids. But first, we start with Ellen Kolodziej, who updates us on the current lawsuits.
Thank you, Larry. There's no disputing that the opioid crisis has reached epidemic proportions in New Jersey and in every state in this country. But now the debate revolves around the question about who's responsible and who should pay for the devastation.
This is really cutting at the heart and soul of Ohio. It is hard to describe the gravity of this problem.
The Ohio Attorney General is going after Big Pharma big time. He filed a lawsuit against some major drug companies, including Purdue Pharma, Endo Health Solutions, Teva, Allergan, and New Jersey-based Johnson & Johnson, claiming they all did the exact same thing.
Put profits above the health and well-being of Ohio consumers. And they did this by flooding the market with misleading information about the risks and benefits of prescription opioids, including OxyContin, Percocet, and many others.
The lawsuit claims the pharmaceutical companies used seemingly independent third parties to spread false and deceptive statements and continue to spread those statements through direct marketing of their branded opioids. The suit also alleges they used front groups to spread their word, like prominent doctors who were on the company's payroll, and that they exploited susceptible prescribers and vulnerable patients. A spokesperson for Janssen Pharmaceuticals, which is a subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson, says the company firmly believes that the allegations in the lawsuit are both legally and factually unfounded. Other states, such as Illinois and Mississippi, plus 4 counties in New York, have filed similar lawsuits. So far, though, New Jersey is not going after Big Pharma in the courts. But some parents who've lost children to opioid addiction say all states should make these companies pay.
And to think that people do this to make money. There's thousands of me. Thousands. I see it every day.
Now, unlike the big tobacco case in the 90s, some experts say this opioid case does not have just one so-called villain, and that's because there are middlemen, the doctors who prescribe the painkillers, and that might make it hard to prove in a courtroom that Big Pharma is solely responsible for this crisis. Reporting for Jersey Matters, I'm Ellen Kolodziej.
All right, thank you, Ellen. We continue our conversation now with Ocean County Prosecutor Joseph Coronato. Thank you, sir, for doing this. I appreciate it. Ocean County has been one of the hardest hit counties, not only in New Jersey, but across the country when it comes to the opioid crisis. Why haven't you joined in with other counties on a lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies?
Well, that's kind of, we're law enforcement, and we don't file civil lawsuits as it goes forth. That's something that would have to be done, one, by county council if the county was so inclined, or in an instance on the state, maybe the Attorney General's office, who has power both on the civil side and also on the criminal side. That doesn't exist in every state. The Attorney General in this state does have the power both on the criminal side and the civil side, but in some states, the only power that the Attorney General has is on the civil side.
So when we look at all of the stories about counties in New York and counties in Oregon filing suit, and we see their prosecutors taking the microphone, you don't have that power here in New Jersey.
No, I don't have any civil jurisdiction whatsoever.
Okay. Would you like to see New Jersey file suit against Big Pharma?
Well, it's my understanding that they're now considering doing that, and I have spoken to the Attorney General, and I know that New Jersey is looking towards that. I do think something needs to be done nationally with regard to that. I do believe that the blueprint is already laid out with regard to the tobacco industry and how the federal government handled that problem, and I think a similar tactic would be appropriate with the pharmaceutical companies.
So you believe they should be held accountable?
Yeah, as a prosecutor, I think that nobody wakes up in the morning and starts doing heroin. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, this is what I need. I think it all starts with prescription pills. It all comes from the pills, and I think that there needs to be more accountability in that area.
There's dozens of counties that have filed suit against Big Pharma. There are some municipalities that have. Only a handful of states at this point, Ohio being the most recent. When it comes to New Jersey, and to your point, it has to be a national thing. The tobacco companies, there's 48 states out of 50 that filed. So we need more states to make it a national thing. In New Jersey, is some of the reluctance in filing because we're considered the pharmaceutical capital of the world?
I think there's a balancing that needs to take place. Clearly, that obviously the pharmaceuticals have an economic impact in the state, and I'm sure that people are concerned about that. But at the same time, I believe that there should be some sort of accountability that needs to be done. But I also think that if the state were to file, again, that lawsuit is going to be bogged down. It's a billion-dollar corporation. They're going to be throwing a lot of attorneys into it. There's going to be a lot of manpower that's going to be exercised or necessary to kind of combat it, to try to prove your case as you go through. That's why I think that it should be addressed on a national level, not so much on the state level.
When you keep saying national level, are you talking about the federal government doing it, or just a number of states gathering together and making a class action?
Well, I think that's those are the two alternatives. One, getting a class action with all the attorney generals or all the states getting together and starting a class action. I think alternatively is that maybe the federal government should be taking a look at filing a lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies.
I wanted to talk about something that, go into a different topic. There was big news recently when 12 people were arrested as part of a heroin ring that reached from New York down through Ocean County. 12 people arrested, several of them in Ocean County. Were you involved in that?
Yeah, both Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office and my office, the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, was involved, okay? There was an investigation. The lead agency was the DEA. And we did cooperate with them, and that resulted in a series of arrests that took place in which we participated in, as well as Monmouth, and also some local PDs.
The people that were arrested, I know they're just charged at this point, but how significant is this?
Well, I mean, I think you could see in this particular instance that there was this was an organized drug distribution ring, okay, that was able to take their product and distribute it not only in Monmouth and Ocean County, but it had links back into North Jersey and beyond. So the bottom line is that this was a substantial drug ring. It certainly was bringing drugs not only to Ocean County but to Monmouth County, and I think for the time being, okay, those drugs are not reaching the people here in Ocean County and Monmouth County. Unfortunately, like anything else, you know that somebody's going to be attempting to kind of fill that void, and we have to be vigilant, you know, to go in and to also address that so that we can be successful on that front.
I know one of the other ways your office fights the opioid crisis is you ask people to bring in prescription drugs when they no longer need them. And I've seen the video online of you burning those expired prescription drugs. Is that really effective?
Well, I mean, you have to start someplace, and you know, I think there's a misnomer in there thinking that law enforcement has the full responsibility. When I became prosecutor and we had all these deaths in a short period of time, we came out with a plan. I have like 3 blocks. One is the first block, which is education, prevention. You need to get into the school systems. You need to go out into forums. You need to be maybe say this is a road not to go down, and you need to really put, in my opinion, a lot of focus on that because you're looking to draw the line. The second block is strong law enforcement. When you go in, you do your drug raids, you go in after the predators. We have our strict liability, where if we have a death, we want to go back and find out where that individual who passed got the drugs from and hold that person accountable for a homicide. And then the third block is breaking the cycle of addiction, which is again, getting those people that have this problem, that have the substance abuse issue, and breaking that cycle and getting them back on the road, get them into recovery. So those are the 3 blocks. And the block that you're talking about, which is the pill block, really goes back to prevention and education, is getting the pills, and kind of a combination between that and law enforcement.
And is the big worry that somebody else in the household that it wasn't prescribed to would take those pills and become addicted?
Well, we have a video showing that if you're a young kid and you're in high school and you're looking to make money, that all of a sudden somebody comes up to you, can you get some pills, that they'll go into the medicine cabinet and they'll see that maybe their dad had a foot surgery and got Vicodin, and maybe somebody had some dental surgery and there's some Percocet in there. And who counts the pills that are in the cabinet? So maybe you got a 30-day supply. There may be 50 Vicodin in there. He takes 4 Vicodin and 4 Percocets. Nobody counts the pills, right? And he sells them and he gets $20 a piece. Then after a while, he realizes that, wait a minute, there's some more in there that I can get. He grabs a couple more, and then he goes over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, okay, goes into their medicine cabinet, and then he goes over to a friend's house and uses their bathroom facilities and goes into that cabinet and starts taking them.
And it's extremely important to destroy them the way you did and not flush them down the toilet.
Right. I mean, in 2 months, we collected 2.5 tons worth of pills, and we didn't scratch the surface. So when you look at the fact that we have gotten over 13 tons of pills in 2 years, 13 tons. That's
amazing.
That's a lot. That's a
and
lot
you
of
could have
pills.
saved lives.
If you save one life, it's all worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk about Narcan, because I know you were one of the first counties in the country for your police department to use Narcan, and you've been down to Washington to testify about it. So you are an expert when it comes to Narcan. I'd like to talk about how it works and how your department is using it. That's when Jersey Matters continues.